we will be moving directly into session 11. And this morning we are focusing on data. So I'd like to invite our panelists to take the stage, or here up front for a photo. And then we will be starting our next session focused on data again. So we heard the importance of evidence-based policymaking, data-driven community needs. Thailand has the app that they shared this morning for doing this. And so now in the next session, we will also be focusing on data and how this can inform progress. But how do we use that data for monitoring and SDG localization? So I'd like to thank our speakers and ask our next session speakers to kindly take the stage. We will be having in the next session myself as your esteemed moderator. So thank you. And this session has been put together to talk about the topic of accountability. Accountability is one of the essential parts of SDG 16, ensuring effective, accountable, and inclusive government. So we don't talk about SDG 16 quite often, but it is essential, and we don't talk about the link between accountability at the local level and the national level previously in the forums as much as we could have. So this session is dedicated to that. So we will be starting with a presentation from Professor Dongwook Kim, who is a Professor Emeritus and Director of the Center of Intelligence, Society, and Policy at Seoul National University. He is Professor Emeritus of the Department of Public Administration at Seoul National University, and he specializes on LOCI networks. So we're going to learn about what LOCI is. But he is also a distinguished and accomplished professor on the topic of digital government and the links between this and public policy. So we've heard a lot about that. So I'd like to invite him to kindly take the podium here to deliver his presentation. Or if you want to sit down and do it, that's also great. As you like, yes, yes. Thanks. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. Good morning, distinguished mayors and colleagues and guests. I'm Kim Dongwook, Professor Emeritus at Seoul National University and Director of Center of Intelligence, Society and Policy. Today, I will share our experience applying to the LOCI framework, that is the Local Online Service Index, and they discussed the lessons learned from applying it to the 8 metropolitan cities in Korea in year 2024. First, I introduced the background and the structure of LOCI briefly, and then move quickly to our case study and the recommendations. DESA initiated the first LOCI in 2018, measuring the local online services with 60 indicators in the 40 cities of UN member countries. The LOCI assessment was conducted biannually, and the results were summarized in the UN e-government survey. The LOCI assessment is consistently expanding its participating cities. The most recent assessment, conducted in 2024, assessed 193 cities. The 2024 survey consisted of 95 indicators of 6 categories. The 6 categories are institutional framework, content provision, services provision, participation engagement, e-government literacy, and technology. LOSI relies on binary indicators, meaning services are either provided or not. So scores are 0 or 1. This is the overall status of LOSI indicators in different cities. For the institutional framework, 88% of the sample cities meets over 75% of LOSI criteria. But for technology, only 6% of same cities meet over 75% of LOSI criteria. This shows that there is a gap in the implementation of LOSI indicators depending on the subcategory of LOSI. This is the list of sample cities in the highest LOSI scores in 2024. You look at the Tallinn, Estonia is the number 1. You look at the Seoul, Korea is ranked in 9th place. I passed in order to save time. Now, I present our case study for 8 metropolitan cities in Korea. The LOSI assessment is open to the public to improve its reliability and validity to better capture the status of local online services. Our center, the Center of Intelligent Society and Policy in SNU, participated in the LOSI pilot study project of application of a LOSI methodology in South Korea. This project aimed to apply LOSI methods in cities with various contexts and to make recommendations. As a result, our research team got LOSI scores for 8 cities, ranging from 0.895 to 0.979. These scores are very high because the maximum LOSI scores is 1. As you can see in the table 6, of metropolitan cities got more than 0.9, and the leading city, City of Seoul, got 0.979 out of 10. If we go deep in it, category by category, there are 6 categories of loss indicators in version 2024. Institutional framework, content provision, services provision, participation and engagement, e-government literacy, and technology. In the service provision category, all 8 cities has the same issue, that they are not providing local online services specified by LOSI. This table contains the list of indicators not fulfilled by local government website. If you see the red colored lines, you can find what specific services are not provided in assessed metropolitan cities. The services point out in the survey were police, driver's licenses, building permits, vehicle registration, traffic tickets, utility bills, and affordable housing services. Our research team found that those services are not provided by local government, but by either central government or public agencies. For example, in Korea, police service is provided and managed by National Police Agency and handled by their branch offices. Utility bills were also managed by public enterprises, not by the local government. Let's talk about the best practice. Our exceptional example is Seoul's digital twin service, which provides a real-time, three-dimensional representation of the city of Seoul. It allows citizens to virtually explore the presidential office. It's a Cheongwade, and also located electric vehicle charging stations. The Seoul's digital twin provides a lot of other services. This highlights how advanced technology can enhance transparency and citizens' engagement. In summary, LOS is improving well year by year and successfully helps the local government to provide better online services. However, there is a need for LOS methodology to consider the difference in the context, such as differences in local online services due to different rules and regulations, authorities, and the tasks that the cities have. Feedback from local government public servants, the interviews and workshops also showed aligned results. The local practitioner said that the loss assessment highlights the future path of local online services, considering service receivers such as AI, artificial intelligence, for better service provision and communication. Also, the local service practitioner agreed that loss assessment suggests good guidelines and checklists for the local online service provision, but the indicators should still be well organized and modified to balance the gaps across the global. We also gathered the feedback from local officials. The responses can be grouped. One of the main themes is the low awareness of LOSI. Many officials were unfamiliar with the index, despite its global relevance. Some of them were unsure what LOSI was, and it was unclear why this was the important agenda item. There appears to be a need for improved advertising and the promotion of this project to a broad audience. Despite these challenges, LOSI serves as an achievable but challenging standard. For developing cities, it offers guidelines for improvement of LoC standards showed the roadmap to an ideal online service of the government. This serves as a master plan for developing countries struggling to determine where to start their online service provision journey. For advanced cities, it provides a diagnostic checklist and explores overlooked gaps. In cities where most basics are already met, the annual LoC report shows some of the areas that need more attention and revision. And this outside feedback allows cities to stay on track. We'd like to share 3 key lessons from Korean experience. First, strong infrastructure helps Korea's 5G mobile infrastructure. Internet penetration and smartphone use are strong enablers. These are backbones of a good online service. Luckily, Korea already had a good infrastructure to build on. Therefore, it is a good start to invest in infrastructure if that is not present. Second, more awareness is needed. Promotion of LoC among local officials is key to better adoption. In interviews with the local bureaucrats, we observed that some cities are unfamiliar with the LoC criteria and methods, whereas the others are diligent in meeting the goals and criteria and improving their rankings. If LoC is better advertised, we would see a more consistent online service across global cities. The last, technology attracts citizens. Advanced tools like Seoul's digital twin help rebrand the city's image and improve citizens' participation. This is an area of LoC where Seoul is highly scored. There are many approaches to improving the LoC score, and active incorporation of updated technology could be one of the ways to achieve that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Kim. As we see, SDG localization is sometimes something we don't understand very easily, but it relies on public services at the local level. And so with the LoC methodology, we can collect the data, and we have the indicators and many countries doing this already. So Seoul's experience in digital government is one that is really interesting and we can model on. But it's a global methodology, and if you have questions on it, Professor Kim is available, and also my colleague Prabin, who specializes on this in the UNPAG office under UN DESA. So thank you. With this, I'd like to move to our second presenter from the UN Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, Ms. Sanjeevani Dilanthi Singh, who is an economic affairs officer that specializes with more than 20 years of experience in working with member states in the region, more than 50 member states on SDG localization and how to generate data and accountability. So Sanji, I'd like to give you the microphone. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sara. Good morning, honorable mayors, distinguished guests, partners, and colleagues. It's my pleasure to be here with you this morning. As Sarah said, I work for the ESCAP, or the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. We serve 53 member states and 9 associate member states to advance shared development goals. So just to give you some context, our region spans from Turkey to Tonga, so it is a very diverse region. And I think what we've heard today over the last few days also sort of demonstrates that our region is very active in terms of supporting SDG localization. And we're seeing that there is increasing momentum, not just in the number of voluntary national reviews or voluntary local reviews, but also in the quality of these reports. And I think this is, we're seeing that this is related to a number of things, including increasing political commitment at a national level, as well as really good national and local alignment. And I think we really saw that over the last few days, and I think Japan is really a good example of that as well. So did I just click? Oh, there we go. Okay, so just to share a few ways that our region is, or some of the methodologies and frameworks that our region is utilizing to track progress and support SDG localization. So the first one I'd like to highlight is our Asia-Pacific SDG Progress Report. This is an annual report that we produce through our statistical division in collaboration with other regional partners and agencies, and it really provides a snapshot of SDG progress in the region, highlighting key achievements, but also key gaps in areas where acceleration is required. We also have our Asia-Pacific SDG Gateway, and this really offers open data indicators and a national SDG tracker that enables national and subnational governments to be able to align, to track progress regionally and also to align with their national initiatives. In terms of supporting both VNRs and VLRs, so ESCAP plays a role both in supporting national governments to develop their voluntary national reviews, as well as local governments to develop their voluntary local reviews. In 2020, we produced the Asia-Pacific Regional Guidelines on voluntary local reviews, which many local governments still utilize to support the development of their voluntary local reviews. And our guidelines really emphasize the importance of participatory and multi-stakeholder approach. And then more recently, we just published or launched the SDG Localization Platform. So this is an online platform and really a one-stop hub that cities and subnational governments can access to learn more about how to conduct a VLR. And also we have a number of policy briefs that we have developed that provide more detailed information to support the monitoring and implementation of the SDGs. And this is just to give you a very brief snapshot of our regional progress, and all this information is from our SDG progress report. And what we're seeing is that, despite the efforts that we are putting into implementing the SDGs, the region remains significantly off track to achieve the SDGs by 2030. I think as of 2024, only about 11% of measurable targets were on track. However, while there is progress in certain areas, we're seeing progress with SDG 9, 3, and 11. We're seeing that there's still structural challenges that persist across the region. We're seeing that SDG 13 is regressing, and disasters really continue to have a severe impact in our region. And I think another key thing to note is that climate pressures are also increasing in our region, and our region is also responsible for more than half of the global GHG emissions. And in cities, air quality levels are around 11% worse than the global average. I think overall what these trends really demonstrate is why we need stronger local action, and that also why we need additional data and also deeper collaboration really to accelerate the implementation of the SDGs. And then very quickly just taking a deeper dive into SDG 11. I think this picture really varies across our region from across our various sub-regions. We're seeing that North and Central Asia shows moderate gains. The Pacific shows strong DRR adoption but lacks in resilience. We're seeing that East and Northeast Asia is improving in DRR and air quality, but still remains vulnerable to climate change. We're seeing that Southeast Asia struggles with slum reduction and infrastructure resilience, while South Asia faces acute challenges across actually all these areas. And really just to demonstrate the diversity across our region and the importance of really implementing localized approaches that take into context these different sub-regional and local contexts. So then moving on to key data challenges for SDG monitoring across the region. What we're seeing is one of the biggest barriers to achieving the SDGs is really a data gap. And we're seeing limited data availability and especially limited disaggregated data. And I think some of the previous speakers touched on that. And we're seeing gaps in gender, age, income, location, and other dimensions which really hide the vulnerability across certain groups. We're seeing that across the region, more than half of the SDG indicators lack sufficient data. And, we're also seeing that local governments often collect really valuable data, but because of, the lack of interoperability between national and local data sets, a lot of this data is fragmented, and a lot of the data that is collected at a local level is not usually fed in then to the national systems. And overall, we're seeing that we're really underutilizing citizen-generated data and spatial data. And overall, I think the key message is that if we don't address these gaps, we will not be able to measure and monitor progress adequately or be able to drive meaningful change. In terms of basically looking at some of the key lessons that are emerging from our region, we're seeing there's a couple of things we need to focus on to close these data gaps. And we've just put them into three big buckets. The first one is around strengthening local statistical capacity. I think we've heard across the last few days that local governments are really on the front line of SDG delivery, and we need to ensure that we are strengthening the data collection and the statistical capacity of local governments to be able to generate credible and disaggregated data. Secondly is the importance of developing national-local data protocols and interoperability. So this is really to ensure that there are clear standards and that these are agreed on between national and local governments, and that this allows for the improved flow of data from national to local governments and the other way around, and making sure that the local realities are more visible at a national reporting level. And then the third area or recommendation is really about expanding the use of citizen-generated and spatial data. I think local governments are doing this. They're increasingly utilizing technology to do community mapping and engage in a lot of participatory discussions and focus groups. But a lot of time, this valuable data, there's no mechanism for it to be able to feed into local and national processes. And then just to give you an overview of the role of voluntary reviews in terms of strengthening accountability across the region. We're seeing that in general, so voluntary reviews, both national reviews as well as local reviews, are the region's strongest governance tool for the 2030 agenda. In terms of our region, we're seeing that nearly every country in Asia and the Pacific has presented at least one voluntary national review since 2016. And a lot more of these voluntary national reviews are incorporating and integrating local and regional inputs, which is really important and a big step forward for supporting multi-level governance. In terms of voluntary local reviews, there is an increasing uptake across the region. As of 2025, we have over 60 VLRs that have been produced across the region. And these reviews really give cities a voice and allow them to track their own progress and demonstrate where the gaps are and align with national strategies. And I think overall the important thing is to ensure that we're continuing to encourage the integration of VLRs into VNRs to ensure that there is greater coherence and that we're ensuring that these local realities are more prevalent and and inform national policy as well as national frameworks. And then very quickly, just to give some examples of where we've seen good VLR and VNR integration. For example, in Surabaya in Indonesia, the national ministry was very involved in the planning and review of the VLR in Surabaya. In Dulakil in Nepal, the VLR core team that was set up in the municipality received training from VNR professionals. So this exchange of knowledge was really helpful. And then in Bhopal, India, they derived and used various VLR indicators from the national indicator framework, which allowed for that greater coherence and alignment. And then in the Philippines, also, the engagement involved a lot of training and hand-holding between national government and local government. And then I think this is the last slide, just to give you a few examples in terms of what we're doing across our region to exchange knowledge and to promote peer learning. The first one is really our SDG knowledge platform. So this is a knowledge platform that's managed by CityNet, and this really captures SDG best practices across all the SDGs. So this is a knowledge platform. It's available online, so I would encourage you to visit it to see some of the best practices across all the SDGs that are available across our region. Then I mentioned the SDG localization platform. So this is a platform that we've launched. You can visit this platform, and it provides government and different partners with information in terms of our regional guidelines and our policy briefs, and also gives examples of VLRs and VNRs that have been implemented across the region. And then the next big bucket is that as ESCAP, we lead and support a number of intergovernmental meetings and multi-stakeholder forums that really provide the platform for national governments as well as local governments to share progress in terms of the SDGs. As I mentioned, we have the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development that happens every year in February. We have our annual commission meetings of ESCAP that happen on an annual basis as well. And then this year we will have our committee on environment and development that will take place in July. And okay, I think we are out of time, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sanji. And if you have any questions for Sanji, she will be joining us for the remainder of the day as well. We had Mali and Thailand that have already been part of the initiatives from ESCAP to support member states in strengthening the national to local monitoring and accountability process for SDG progress. And then we also had Philippines. So with this, we will also move now to hear from Philippines and the esteemed Vice Mayor of Santa Rosa, Philippines, who has also participated in these processes, the Honorable Arnold Arcillas, and he specializes on digital government transparency and has driven these efforts in Santa Rosa to receive national awards on these topics as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sara. A pleasant good morning to all of you. Let's smile, because we're talking about the future, the present, the future of our city, right? Also would like to acknowledge our Philippine contingent. There's a lot of, I have champions from the Philippines. Public servants are here. Thank you very much for being here. Also would like to acknowledge Filipinos, my fellow Filipinos here in the Toyota City. They're there. Thank you so much for supporting us. And to all our representatives, to all our guests, to all our mayors, good morning to all of you. I'm Arnold Arcillas. Well, I'm the City Vice Mayor. Also, I have a 20-year experience in information technology before I became City Vice Mayor. And in Santa Rosa, the Vice Mayor handles the council. So it's a good formula. From legislation and technology, it's a good formula. Later, I'm gonna discuss about it. As a background, City of Santa Rosa, well, we are around population is around 500,000, and our land area is around 55 square kilometer, so a little bit dense. We have 18 barangays. 18 barangays, I need to define, this is the basic unit of governance. They are the one helping us from the bottom level. They are part of a TWG of our VLR, so they're very helpful. And they're willing to be accountable on anything that the VLR is saying. Also, Santa Rosa is the investment capital of the South Luzon. It's the Lion City of the South and the Next Wave City. During my discussion, I'll also be discussing about the Smart City framework. Smart City and VLR will be in parallel. It will be go in hand. As the previous data or the presenter previously, there's a lot of data-driven and technology, AIs, IoTs being discussed. So it's very important to us to align both the smart city framework or the roadmap to our VLR, to our localizing SDGs. Also in Santa Rosa, there's a lot of multinational corporations. Actually, we have 3 car manufacturers in the city of Santa Rosa, and one of those is Toyota. So I would like to acknowledge also Toyota Motors. In Santa Rosa, the Toyota Motor Philippines, very helpful to the local government unit. Their Toyota Motor Foundation, there's a lot of programs. I think it's being showed here also about their programs. We are engaged in that programs. They're very supportive with the SDGs, the Toyota Motor Foundation, building houses, the mobility program, providing us with shuttle buses, donation of dialysis or health equipment. So I'd just like to indicate that we acknowledge and appreciate the help of Toyota Motor Philippines in Santa Rosa, Laguna. We also have BPOs, real estate is also, there's a lot of real estate in Santa Rosa, call centers, Coca-Cola is there, the manufacturing. So these companies, these multinational companies is helping us, is helping the VLRs, helping the Sustainable Development Goals. They are a part of the TWG during the workshop. There's a lot of groups helping us here. So what I'm saying is really the LGU is a participatory government helping us in providing us details, providing us data. And it's very important that your business or your stakeholder or your business partner in your city is there to provide help or provide assistance. So we're so lucky. Santa Rosa is so lucky because they're all active in the SDGs. Okay? So the selected SDGs for Santa Rosa as a background, VLR, we align it to our 5 pillars. The people, prosperity, planet, peace, partnership, and overall, we have 10 SDGs, SDG 1 to 5, SDG 11, 12, 13, and also SDG 16, 17. As a background. This is just a data because previously, before the VLR, we already engaged in SDGs. Zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. Since 2018, we are in an upward trend, except for during the pandemic, of course. There's very exceptional cases. Also, for sustainable cities, responsible consumption, climate action, we're doing good. And now we have the VLRs to actually follow that framework. Again, data for the peace and partnership pillar. I will not discuss it anymore. Okay, this is the part that the key phases and dates of the inception phase of our TWG, our VLR. Last April 2024, I was there. It's really good that you are part of the program or the TWG or the initial stage. I've talked to the ESCAP during that time, and my first question was how to monitor it. That's my first question. We have all the data, we have all the information, all the groups, all the sectors in Santa Rosa are there during our TWG, and my question is how can we use this data and how can we monitor it? And I also provide them some solution. I want it to be a dashboard-based solution because, again, IT experience, collating all the information into one dashboard so that the local chief executive, the mayor, can give fast decision looking at that dashboard. Okay, the workshop we did was last June 6 and 7, 2024, and then some key phases and dates during the VRR development, data collection. Here in Santa Rosa, we do have lots of data. Every unit, every department has their own data collection system, okay? The issue there or the challenge is that it's only, they're just using it for their own. It's not being centralized. It's not being used by all of the departments. So that's a challenge we'll be discussing later. We have done face-to-face interviews, quantitative methods, and also what's good in Santa Rosa is we have a state university, okay? We have 2 universities in Santa Rosa, and we tap them. The VLR, the triple VLR method is conceptualized by one of the university in our city. So it's very, again, we're so lucky that there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of academe in the city of Santa Rosa, and they're also included in the TWG. Okay, and last, the final phase, the validation workshops scheduled last January 22, 2025. Presence there are the technical working group, the barangay chairperson, it's very important. This is the basic local unit of governance. There are chairmans there, the leader of those barangay, and they committed on the VLR, and that's very important so that at the lower or at the basic unit, there are accountabilities already that will be supporting the total VLR package. The private sector was there also. Actually, all of them were there. We have a senior citizen group, okay? We have the CSOs, civil society organization. We have the city youth, LGBTQA, there's there. Fisher folks are also there. Santa Rosa is nearby a laguna, a lake, so it's a food source. What else? There's a lot of sectors engaged for the VLR development, and we thank them. It's very helpful. The VLR publication, which was last September 2025. We were there. All of the academies, all of those TWG's group and sector who helped us, they were there. They're so excited, and their willingness to support again the local government unit, the mayor, for the actual the action plan for the VLR. They'll be there. They'll be supporting us. Okay, this is the part. Moving forward and the challenges. Challenges identified, definitely is a new initiative for us, the VLR, requiring analysis on the whole system. Again, as I've discussed earlier, data is available but not centralized. I know that for the fact because I did the application system of some of the departments. I saw that the problem is the interconnection or the connectivity. We're doing it now, almost 50%. And we already have a platform for the dashboard, which later we're going to discuss it also. And again, communication and coordination between experts and data supplying officers. I think I'm the expert there. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to help them finalize the APIs, the interconnection of our data to one centralized data. Steps in monitoring progress on SDLG localization. Here's the key: being the presiding officer of the council, I can really influence and insist them in doing. If you want to do a localized thing or localize or institutionalizing something, it will start on the law, on the ordinances, or on the resolution. So what I'm suggesting is what I'm doing, which is being done already by some of the department, is all of our plans, all of our, like for example, the annual investment plan, the comprehensive land use, we will be indicating there what SDGs is being affected or what SDGs is being resolved with that plan. So before, gender development was already there. There's a column in our key performance indicator. There's a column stating that this is for this kind of SDGs. So we will just try to make it broader or bigger, including different plans, including other plans, and trying to really position the SDGs on those plans. In case of the ordinances, our SP secretary is also here. I was requested to him that every ordinances or every resolutions, there should be a whereas clause stating that this is SDG number 1 or SDG number 2. Yeah, we can have it because I think when we're doing ordinances, as far as the SDGs are concerned, it's there. Every SDGs is also a part of our program in the city of Santa Rosa. So an executive order was done. This is where our monitoring is, the triple VLR model. Okay, the framework, tool, process. On the other side, people-oriented, database governance, phase-based system. But what I want to indicate here or to prioritize is a database governance. Again, basing from the other presentation, database governance will only be successful if there is technology. So this is where the dashboard will be coming in. Local plan alignments with the Sustainable Development Goals. That's what I've discussed a while ago. All plans, all programs will be based on SDGs. Also, I've talked to the SP Secretary last night. I checked with him if we can create a committee in the council, okay? A committee on SDGs or a committee on sustainable development. We can do that. It's a special ad hoc group. It will only be with a certain time or certain years, maybe 2 years, so that they will be the one to check out or to monitor SDGs or our VLR. Okay. This is a classic example of our platform for monitoring the SDGs. Data collection is here, data cleaning, trend analysis, alignment with global indicators, integration of IoTs and AIs. Actually, the picture there is actually our cyber city platform. Okay, we have 1,200 cameras around the city. Okay, and these are all connected through our cyber city platform. That platform is monitoring the traffic, monitoring the number of vehicles, monitoring the vehicle count, which we can use on checking the carbon monoxide or the carbon footprint output of those, because we can get the count and we can get the description. If it is a 4-wheeler, a 10-wheeler, a 12-wheeler truck, that system can detect it. And we'll also be going to use this as a platform for our environment, for checking the environment. We will be putting IoTs using this infrastructure. It's interconnected through wired or through air. But what is good about this is it is ready for IoTs. IoTs for air quality, water quality, what else? Rainfall, everything that will help us get data for environment purposes. So we're doing it now. We are finished with the proof of concept. I'm doing the proof of concept also. And hopefully by next year, it's been budgeted already, and we'll be implementing this. The dashboard the dashboard program is already being installed as we speak now, but we will do it phase by phase. Also, the smart city roadmap. This is what I discussed before. We will be aligning our smart city. The smart city roadmap is from 2023 to 2033, while our VLR is until 2030. So definitely, this will be aligned with our VLR. We are already at 60% of the smart city roadmap, and we will do some changes because of the VLR. We will do some changes, align it with the localization of the social, with the sustainable goals. I discussed it already. The plans. This is the comprehensive land use, comprehensive development plan, investment plan. All local plans should be aligned with the national plans, but also consistent. Yeah, with our. I thought this was short. Sustainable development goals. Okay. So again, IoTs, AI analytics will be included as a conclusion. A blueprint for a sustainable future. Here today, there are a lot of earthquakes in the Philippines. Okay, every day we're experiencing earthquakes. SDGs will help us. Okay, there is an immediate assistance. There's always an immediate assistance, right? But we go past beyond immediate assistance because SDGs will make Santa Rosa susceptible to disaster and also sustainable to disaster. That's technically my summary for everything. Experiencing disaster, but SDGs will definitely help us by following all the blueprints, by following all the guidelines. And again, in Santa Rosa, nobody will be left behind and nobody will be forgotten. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Yes, it's really wonderful to hear the local example of how they're putting together data, accountability, and the traditional leadership with the barangays. All the local engagement is there and the buy-in, as he said. So I think with this, we will now move to hear from Malawi, from Mr. Zeru Hadrod Mkandawire, who is Executive Director of Malawi's Local Government Association. Hadrod, or Zeru Hadrod, or Mr. Mkandawire, as you'd like to call him, he is really a champion for SDG localization, trying to instill the VLR in Malawi and drive progress. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I understand when you assimilate the youngest and the last presenter, then it becomes a problem. All right, but I'll try to make my presentation a bit brief. Yeah, so as the light introduced, my name is Hadrod Zeru Mkandawire, or Zeru Hadrod Mkandawire, a lawyer by profession. I'm currently the CEO of the Malawi Local Government Association. So as some of you might be aware, a local government association is a national association of local authorities or local councils in a particular country. I believe those that are in the local authority know this subject or agenda. So in Malawi, we have this association, which is an umbrella body of all the 36 local authorities. So unlike in other jurisdictions where there are 2 or 3 associations, in our country we only have one National Association of Local Authorities. And it exists to promote decentralization, good governance, and sustainable local development. Further, it exists to build effective local authorities or councils as drivers of SDGs, localization, and serves as a collective voice of local authorities or councils to influence national policy and strengthen accountability. Next. Next. Oh, where is it? Okay. Yeah, so as a national association, our role, what is our role in what I've been doing in terms of, advancing accountability in SDGs localization, as also as strengthening transparency, monitoring and inclusive planning from the national to local levels. So first of all, we understand that being an umbrella body, as per our mandate, we also have a law to ensure that our local authorities are very effective and prominent in terms of localizing SDGs, as also undertaking voluntary local reviews, because that's part of our mandate, to bring to the fore the prominence of local authorities. So we have been facilitating and helping our members, the local authorities, to ensure that they take part effectively in voluntary local reviews. And we also did identify the gaps that they had in undertaking the same. And there was a need to have a national workshop to bring them together, at least to enhance further their capacity in undertaking this exercise. And we held a national workshop on the same with support from DESA. They came to Malawi, supported our local authorities with the technical support, and also to ensure that going forward, they develop voluntary local reviews roadmaps. And further, we supported these local authorities to ensure that they do align their local plans with the SDGs. So, as you're aware that each local authority has got its development blueprint, which facilitates implementation of their different projects and service delivery. So it is important that in these plans, the SDGs is well aligned. Particularly the urban councils, we ensure that the SDGs are integrated into the urban development plans for better accountability. And then we also have been promoting stakeholder engagement, including UN in Malawi has been very handy in ensuring that they come and support the gaps that we identify with our local authorities. And we also have been promoting to ensure that the local authorities involve communities that they work with, civil society organizations or CSOs, as well as private sector in SDGs planning and review. And there's also that there's inclusive and transparent implementation at the local to ensure that the needs of the local people are taken into consideration. And further, we have been undertaking customized capacity building of local authorities, where we've been training key staff that are involved in monitoring, as well as planning, to ensure that they have the requisite capacity in terms of collection, data collection, as well as M&E, as well as the UNOSD indicators. I also need to highlight that with support from UNDP, UN Habitat, as well as DESA, we have been engaged in 16 out of the 36 local authorities, with 44 local officials involved in terms of capacity strengthening. And of course, there are some local authorities whose names are there. I think the names may not be particularly relevant at this point in time. But also, what we did in Malawi, we have got 3 or 2 tiers of local authorities. We have got those what call urban and rural. The urban are those that are either city councils and municipalities. So since wanted to ensure that those that are better off and those that are lagging behind, they should be able to hold hand each other, we created a caucus, we called it a cities caucus. One of the objectives is to ensure that there's peer-to-peer learning on this subject matter and others. Now, what are the challenges that we have noted and are documented in terms of SDGs reporting progress at the local level in Malawi, and of course in some parts of Africa through our interaction with our sister organizations? One is that data gaps and weak monitoring systems. I think that's also highlighted by other previous presenters. So most local authorities or councils lack reliable data and harmonized tools, which limits accurate SDGs tracking. And this is also information that we got from our National Planning Commission, which is an anchoring body for development in Malawi. Limited capacity and resources, shortages in skilled staff and funding constraints. As you know, that local authorities are already have got competing priorities to deliver with very limited resources that they get from the local, from the central government. Much as we're aware that the local authorities in most countries are the ones that are anchoring most of the service delivery, but the funds still remain with the central government. So whatever resources they get, there's those competing priorities. And where politicians want the next vote, when making decisions, they would like to allocate more resources to visible infrastructure projects rather than such kind of initiatives. So that's what becomes a problem. And then we also noted that there's a lack of standardized frameworks in consistent VRR formats across municipalities. Political and institutional challenges, particularly weak governance structures, where at the local level you find that those structures that are supposed to undertake oversight to the council secretariat in terms of to what extent are the council, the technocrats, undertaking this exercise. They don't have the capacity. Actually, some of them don't even know about voluntary local reviews, right? And then inadequate stakeholder engagement, limited inclusion of local communities, reduces ownership and transparency in reporting. So I think some of these I've already highlighted it too. What are the key lessons that we have drawn so far? I think position local authorities at the center recognizing that local authorities should be in the forefront of implementing SDGs is very important. Invest in capacity building and peer learning, use platforms that we have like the Cities Caucus and also the national workshop that DESA supported was very, very handy in at least dragging those local authorities that were completely behind. And also strengthen national and local coordination, where as an umbrella body, we also ensure that we bring onto the table key national actors, like the National Planning Commission, the ministries that finance who are involved in ensuring funding issues and all that. And also promote participatory approaches is also very important. And also leveraging partnerships with the institutions such as the UN agencies and ministries to fill the technical and financial gaps is also very key. Yeah, but one thing I'd also like to highlight here is that you have also noted that when the UN and other agencies are promoting this agenda, the national associations normally are left behind. Because what I've noted that in most cases, the national government is prioritized, particularly the relevant minister. That's very important because they're policy holders. But what we should also understand is that the central government has got their own priorities. They're careless of what is happening to the local authorities. The institution at the national level, which has got much care about what is happening at the national and local level, is the National Association. So thank you, DESA, for coming and handling last time, but we loved if the partners that are here and those that are not here would help development partners and cooperative partners, would help to handhold as well the national associations, so that in turn, the national associations should be able to effectively handhold their members. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hadrod. Thank you for emphasizing the role of a local government association to bring along all parties and strengthen accountability and be a champion for the SDGs from national to local level. So very happy and very grateful. So this session was about the building blocks for how we can make this happen locally. We had Professor Emeritus Kim share with us the importance of a methodology that exists for many years now, or not too many, but at least a few years now at the global level, and can also be a roadmap to help have accountability and services provision and monitor how that's progressing for SDG results locally. And he is here as an expert for that methodology with our colleague Prabin again. If you have questions, and we have also the UN that is providing another champion role to scale this up, provide technical assistance, and the platform for accountability and monitoring progress on the SDGs, and the local government model from Philippines and the Local Government Association. So please give them a round of applause, everyone.